Hello, friends. My name is Murtaza from Insta Accountant. I'm an accountant. We provide accounting services in Toronto. So, as you know, we do a lot of Uber drivers and rideshare drivers, taxes, and accounting services. Today, I'm going to be talking about what you need to know when you start off as a rideshare driver. So when I say rideshare driver, if it doesn't matter if you're driving through Uber or Lyft or any other app, what you need to know, what is important for you when you start off with this business. So the first main thing is, which you need to understand, is that I'm assuming that you're already doing some job somewhere. So, and now you're starting off, let's say Uber driving, right? So the main thing is that is the difference between employment income and self-employment income. So employment income, you understand, you work there for hours or days or whatever, and you're getting a salary, and at the year end you get a T4 and you file your taxes. In self-employed, things become a bit tricky and complicated because this is a business income that you are receiving from someone from selling your service, right? So in self-employment, there is a lot of things that come onto your shoulders that you have to take care of. For example, you have to take care of your taxes, income tax, the sales tax, whichever province you're in. So if you're, let's say you're in Ontario, you have to take care of the HST obligations as well. Then you have to take care of the bookkeeping and expense tracking or keeping the receipt management, the receipts that you have to keep. So there is a lot of responsibilities that come onto the person who is doing those business activities, which is you now, right? So I just wanted to explain all this from an accountant's perspective, because a lot of time we get called, hey, I started this, I have a question. So I thought maybe I should make this video. So that's the main difference. In employment, you just do your service and get paid. But in self-employment, you do your service for a customer or a client, and then there is added responsibilities that you will take care of, which will be related to accounting and tax mainly. So let's say the first thing that we want to talk about is that when you start driving Uber, the life cycle shortly, the life cycle is that you're picking up a customer and dropping off that passenger or customer at point B, and you don't collect the fare. Uber collects the fare for you and then sends that money into your account, into your bank account, after deducting their service fees. It means that you are not there is no income tax deduction at source. So if you were employed, your income tax a part of your income tax get deducted at the source. Like your employer will deduct some income tax and send it to CRA, and then send you a check for the rest of the amount. In Uber does not keep any income tax with them. They just they don't keep any tax with them. They just take their fees out of the fare and send the rest of the money to you. So which means that you have to take care of your taxes yourself, right? So that's the main thing which, as an Uber driver, you have to kind of handle when you're doing this thing. So now the other thing is that there is HST. So if you are driving for Uber and if you're doing Uber rides, or you're doing Lyft and you're picking up and dropping off passengers, then you have to take care of the HST from day one. It does not matter what your income is. So again, whatever your income is, even if you did one ride in 1 year, you have to take care of the sales tax or the HST. Right? So let's be specific to Ontario. It applies on BC, Alberta as well, but let's say in Ontario, you have to take care of the HST as well, right? And this is because Uber or rideshare services come under the um, um, taxi category. So for the taxi business, the law is that each whatever fare you make, your whatever service you're selling, you have to deduct in sales tax on that service and send that to the government, to CRA. So that being clear, that as an Uber driver, you have two tax related responsibility. One is the income tax, like whatever whatever income you're making, you have to pay income tax. You have to pay tax on that. That's one thing. The other thing is the HST, or the sales tax, or the harmonized sales tax, right? That's the other responsibility, which totally depends on the revenue or the sales that you're making. Like on whatever fare, even if you did one ride in 1 year and that ride was $100, so you have to take care of that $13 HST, which is related to that fare. This is mandatory for people who are doing Uber rides or lyft or any other apps for that sake. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind, that you will be taking care of the HST as well. Now the other point is that we have to, as Uber drivers, you will be required to understand the importance of bookkeeping, right? So bookkeeping basically, and the expense management. So bookkeeping is basically like knowing and recording properly all your expenses and income. So your income is well documented by Uber because it is collecting the fare and then sending it to you, so that the income side is well documented and properly recorded. But the expense side is in your hands. Like you're driving your car, you're spending on gas, you're spending on car insurance, your phone, your other all those expenses, right? For which you have to do the bookkeeping yourself, right? And obviously the CRA rule is that you have to keep record of all expenses that you did, all the supporting documents for 6 years. So that means, for example, you've filled your gas for $100. You have to keep that receipt for 6 years. CRA might ask for that anytime. So that's, you can imagine the responsibility. The next thing is that the bookkeeping thing, it is a burden, but in the same time, it is something which has a value as well. So the value is that if you're doing proper bookkeeping for all your business or the activity that is related to Uber, you will you will have a better visibility of your expenses. So as I said, you know what your income is, but sometimes, most of the times, you won't really know how much you're spending on that activity. So if you start documenting and doing your bookkeeping properly, you will have a better understanding of how your financials as a result of Uber activities look like, right? And so that's why actually we developed an app for self-employed people and drivers like yourself. It's called ZoomBooks.app. I'll put the link in the description as well. It's specifically designed by accountants, obviously, for self-employed people, and a lot of drivers are now using ZoomBooks, which is like good enough for providing them accountant grade accuracy and reliability. So anyway, so the value or the good thing is that you will know how much you're making and how much you're spending on the expenses, and what's the net income that you're getting, right? Now, one more thing that you need to keep in mind, or that that is very valuable for people who started doing Uber, is the expense deduction. So I have made quite a few videos on which expenses Uber drivers can claim as deductions. You can refer to those videos. We can add the link as well. We will add the link in the description as well. But in general, all the expenses related to your car are deductibles. The depreciation is deductible. The Uber fees and those expenses are deductible. So you need to know which expenses, right? But in general, just make sure that you are on top of your expenses. Like you know which expenses you're paying for, and you're recording them somewhere. Because this is the information that you want to take to your accountant at the year end to when you're filing your taxes. So the next step will be the main information is understanding the tax time. So let's say you started Uber driving. Now it's 31st December, end of the year. Now what? From the tax perspective. So for the tax, as I said, you are going to be taking care of two types of taxes, like different types of taxes. One is the income tax, which is the tax on the income that you made off of Uber. And the other one is the sales tax, which is HST, which is totally related to the revenue that you're getting off of Uber. Okay, so the income tax, you will be filing, as I said earlier, that there will be no deduction at source. So what's going to happen is at the year end, you're going to be reporting this Uber income as a self-employed, and which is basically whatever income you got from Uber, and then all the expenses that you incurred to earn that income. So let's say you made $100 from Uber during this year, and you spent $60 as expense, gas and insurance and this, blah, blah, I'm just saying, right? So you have to report that $100 as income and $60 as expenses, and the difference, 100 minus 60 is the $40. That's your net income from Uber, from your self-employed activity, which is Uber, right? So you're going to be paying income tax on this $40, right? So this is about income tax. Now let's talk about the HST. That's another type of tax, as I said, and it has a separate filing, right? So it has a separate tax return. Income tax return is separate, and HST return is separate. So in your HST, you are going to say that okay, the $100 that you made, you also collected $13. Let's say, I'm just making it simple for you, $13 as HST, right? And that $13 will be mentioned on your Uber tax summary. So Uber is going to provide you this information that during this year, my friend, you earned $100, and this is $100, and the HST that you collected, or we collected from passenger on your behalf, was $13. Now you also did expenses, which is whatever, $60. You paid some HST on those expenses. You deduct that amount of HST from that, and the rest of the amount will be sent to CRA. So that's a separate tax return. So I have explained the HST for Uber drivers and Uber Eats and everything in separate videos in detail, right? You can see those and understand, go in detail. And the income tax return, T2125 form, and those things in detail as well. So you can watch those videos. But the main thing that you need to keep in mind is that there will be two tax returns that you will be taking care of. One is the income tax return, and the other one will be HST return. And both are different, but they're interrelated. Your accountant would know that better, and I've explained that in separate videos as well. So these are basically the things that you need to keep in your mind when you're starting out as an Uber driver. And it's a very good thing when you have this kind of basic knowledge. You will be operating in a way which is more efficient, because it's better to know now rather than at the year end when you go to your accountant and your accountant asks for information which you say, hey, oh, I should have recorded this or kept the receipts and this and that. So it's better to know now and be on top of your documentation and everything, especially your expense tracking. Then you're good. So I wish you good luck. I hope this video helps you. Enjoy driving.